Okay, now you're live.
Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. The meeting of the
Good afternoon.
executive committee here, and I guess that we're ready. What we'll do is look at the minutes from our last meeting, which was November 9th, I believe. And if those minutes look good to everybody, we need a motion to accept them.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Thanks, Phil.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Jeff.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
So what we have here is a couple of programs. We're going to let Anna take this part of it and introduce these programs to us. That's the purpose of why we're here today.
Thank you, Hanif. And so we have a gentleman in our waiting room representing BOCES. His name is Tom Schulte, and he's going to go over some programmatic details about the CDL license program. I just wanted to let this committee know that we did budget for the $45,000 request in our spending plan for this year. So this falls within our budget. And there's information in your board packet or the materials that you were given for today's committee meeting and the board packet for tomorrow. Under our MCIDC letterhead, the title is Monroe to Orleans BOCES Center for Workforce Development. And this is a program that we've undertaken in the past, so it shouldn't be anything new. So with that, I think it's okay for us to welcome Tom into the meeting. Hi. Oh, sorry. Jumped the gun. Hello, Tom.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Welcome to our executive committee meeting. I just briefed the committee members on this program and what we budgeted for. And I let them know that they've got some helpful background materials that you had provided to us.
Okay.
So with that, I'd love to ask you to brief the committee on the program request.
Yeah, so I mean, and Hanif, you were obviously part of this a year or so ago, and so you're aware. So this is an extension of a program that we partnered with the county on last year. I think it started in the summer of 2019. In which we were offering CDL Class B licensing training to both the unemployed or employed that were seeking to step up into a new role and earn their Class B licensing, as well as offering the program to some of the immigrant community for English as a second language to be able to participate and be able to find some job credentials to move into employment here in the region. And so that program at the time offered $1,500 scholarships to each eligible participant. The program itself was $1,850. So there was still a little bit of a balance left that we intentionally left there with the intent of really trying to engage the participants in a commitment to completing the program. That we had, I would say we had some solid success right out of the gate. We ran two cohorts, one last summer and then one in the winter of 2019 into 2020. And then we had a third one ready to go in the March of 2020. And we all know what happened in March of 2020. So we weren't able to run it. And then the funding program at that time was wrapping up at the end of the last fiscal year. And so this application really is just an extension of that program to continue to offer scholarships to eligible individuals in our community to try and help close some of the workforce gaps that exist as far as Class B drivers go. And so targeting primarily school districts. We partnered with Medical Motors. We've had some people placed at RTS. And so, we're looking to continue that, especially given the fact that 60% of bus drivers in our region are over 65. And as you can imagine, given the current circumstances, we're anticipating a fairly steep turnover and growing demand for Class B licensed drivers. So that, in a nutshell, is what we're trying to continue.
Thank you, Tom.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I must add that I thought that the program, it worked well beyond what was written before. And Tom, you might want to, I'm trying to recollect this. I think everyone that went through the program was placed.
Well, yeah, everyone who completed the full program. So we had a lot of individuals who completed the 30-hour of coursework.
Right.
And for a whole host of reasons. So to kind of give some additional background, we were partnering with Genesee Valley BOCES essentially as the transportation provider. So their instructor and their bus. And so when we were in the program, the bus was frequently up at our Rochester Tech Park office where individuals were able to get their driving in. But we did have a few of our students who weren't able to complete the actual driving piece. And then it became a logistical nightmare of trying to figure out how to get a bus from Batavia to Rochester once the program completed. But Hanif, to your point, I want to say we were over 85% of students who actually completed everything were placed in employment that we were able to verify. So, you know, that's the piece that I want to make sure I'm cautious about. Once people leave our program, and this is true for all of our programs that we offer here, once the program's over, sometimes it becomes increasingly difficult to be able to reconnect with them to kind of find out where they are. But of all the data we collected, a very high percentage of our graduates were placed in employment.
And I think the other caveat is that each participant, they have skin in the game, so they pay $350, and
Correct.
we subsidize the $1,500, totaling $1,850. Yeah.
Correct.
So nothing has changed that much with the program. Are the same trainers that you've had before?
No,
teachers?
so that's the biggest change. So we unfortunately the both of the instructors from Genesee Valley BOCES chose to retire this year, and they are in the process of trying to replace both of those individuals within their own organization. We had hired in March a new CDL instructor that was going to be working with them to transition over. So we had our own instructor on staff. And then the other byproduct of having the Genesee Valley instructors retire is the bus that we were using that they would drive from Batavia here with is not moving now. So we are right now, I'm just waiting on final signatures. We're partnering with Gates Chili Central Schools to access one of their buses to be able to deliver the program, you know, with the same level of integrity that we were able to with Genesee Valley BOCES.
So are there any other questions for Tom?
I don't have any questions. Tom, that was going to be my question was, do we have a vehicle?
Yeah, we're working on that, and I'm also, and this is kind of early in discussions. I'm trying to explore ways to be able to get access not only to the school bus, which we're just waiting on signatures on, but I'm also trying to figure out a partnership to get a dump truck, because we've had a number of individuals come through our program while they get their passenger certification for driving a school bus. Their intention really is to be here to get their Class B to move into the construction trades, and that's I'm working on trying to figure out who I can partner with to be able to have a Class B eligible dump truck that we could also use for part of our training.
Great idea. Great idea. And to your point, I'm not sure how you follow post-graduation to obtain data We always love data, so.
Absolutely. No, and I do too. It's,
As to you.
yeah, it's the constant challenge of, kind of as soon as they're done, they're on their way. And then I don't think, and I probably can relate to it. Don't like looking back so much, just want to keep moving forward.
Yeah.
It-
And
Yeah.
I recall being Hanif and I were at the graduation and, listening to some of those folks and their families. It was really interesting to hear that, we're heavily subsidizing, but they were really proud that they had a little skin in the game. That kind of came through across the board.
Yeah.
Tom, share with me how the recruitment is going to go, because as I recall, I thought myself and Rich sort of assisted and helped with that. So how are you doing it this year?
Well, so we'll have an application similar to what we used last year, but we'll be leveraging. We've already been in communication with a lot of the community organizations in the area. Kind of planting the seed about the availability of the program and our hopes to be able to get it up and running again. So I already know we have a fairly significant number of interested individuals coming out of Catholic Family Center. And then we'll be working certainly with Rochester Works. We'll be working with, Villa of Hope, with Action for a Better Community. We'll be actively recruiting through a lot of the community connections that we have, as well as obviously, really following up with individuals that may have been interested. That we'll probably start is calling people that were enrolled in March,
Right.
that weren't able to actually go through and see if they're still interested in coming back.
Well, listen, that's good to know, because I cannot come out of retirement,
Are you sure, honey?
Yeah, I'm telling you, I can't. So I was a little concerned with that, but that does answer it for me, and I think that's a broad reach, partnering with those agencies and that type of collaboration, and I'm hoping that we get. I'm hoping that the program can get 30 good participants. Are there any other questions for Tom? Well, if there's not, can we have a motion to accept this proposal?
And make a recommendation to the full board.
Yeah.
One motion. Oh, Lynn. Okay.
I'll move it. Jeff will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all right. So this is going to go to the full board for its review, Tom, and hopefully, I don't know, is Tom coming tomorrow? There's no need for him to come tomorrow. Is he coming tomorrow?
I guess it's your choice. He does have it on his calendar.
It's on my calendar. I plan on being available should anyone have any
Yeah,
questions.
I think it would be good that the board gets to possibly ask the same questions, but
Absolutely.
we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Yeah, and I appreciate it, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah,
All right.
Thanks,
Have a great
Tom.
day, everyone.
all right.
Thanks, Tom.
You. Great. Well, thank you all.
So,
If it's all right with you, honey, if I can talk a little bit about the next item, the retain program.
sure.
Thank you. So you'll recall it was pretty much exactly a year ago that I started in this position. And I think it was my second day on the job that I presided over my first MCIDC board meeting. And this board considered at that meeting what had been a proposal under the previous administration for a program under the title Retain, the objectives of which were to retain more college graduates in Monroe County. We have a rich higher ed ecosystem here. We graduate a lot of students. We don't necessarily retain all of them. And the program as it was structured under my predecessor wasn't something that the board was in support of. It was a small number of interns that were going to be compensated, and we were going to pay for their transportation, et cetera. Adam Bello, the county executive, proposed in his transition report the creation of a similar program, alluding to the goals and objectives, but not necessarily committing. He was committing the administration to pursuing this as a goal, but it left it sufficiently vague such that the administration could figure out how to put an effective program together. So I pulled staff together here in the Department of Planning and Development and brainstormed. Lydia was involved. We talked about what could we do that's actionable, practical, and could have an impact. And we talked about MCIDC's Monroe Manufacturers Jobs Program and how that's structured, and thought, well, why don't we put sort of an incentive program together whereby a recent graduate from a college or university in Monroe County accepts a job with a local business, and upon a year of employment with that business, we compensate them with a grant, just like Monroe Manufacturers Jobs. So we put a proposal together that effectively we'd be able to budget for maybe around 50 students in a pilot program and provide them with $2,000 grants upon a year's worth of employment at an existing business here in Monroe County. And we've set it up in such a way that the businesses would need to apply with MCIDC to be approved as a Monroe County retained business. We'd like to focus on industry sectors that are target sectors for as identified by the Finger Lakes Regional Economic Development Council. So looking at information technology, engineering, advanced manufacturing, agribusiness, et cetera. So less so focused on service sectors. We're not looking at the education sector. We're looking more so at the net contributors to regional GDP. And so when the businesses are accepted, they can use this Retain Monroe program as a recruitment tool, and then a further incentive in their employee benefits package. And also it's a way for us to entice more college graduates to stick around in Monroe County for employment after they finish their four-year degree or after they complete a graduate degree. We are targeting a salary cap of about $60,000 for new employees. So this will ensure that applicants with the most immediate need are receiving the Monroe Retain grants. And we're making the program available. We propose making the program available to businesses with 100 or fewer employees, and businesses would be able to claim up to 5 Retain Monroe grants for new employees per year, but we wouldn't put that cap on MWBEs or on veteran-owned businesses. And how we propose funding this program is by moving some resources around. A few years ago, this board moved to allow businesses to apply for grades, up to 4 grades, have up to 4 grades open at any given time. And when we made that possible, we ended up spending $100,000 more on the program. I think it was last budget year. And so we were thinking we would institute a cap of 2 grades. So any businesses coming to us for a great rebate can have up to 2 open at a given time, so that we can recapture the excess dollars that were spent on it when we had 4 open. And then we can funnel those dollars over into this Retain program. And so I'd like to open it up for your thoughts and some dialogue. There are materials that are in your board packet about this vision, and knowing that all of you come from, private sector, financial backgrounds, you may have some insights that our team doesn't bring to the table. So ultimately, we'd love to move to recommend that the full board accept and approve this program. But before that, I'd love to have a conversation here today with all of you about what you see working or not working.
I just have a question again on the total cost of the program. I mean, it's something like the Monroe Manufacturing of Jobs. This is to retain individuals here and to keep our workforce and brain power here. So the $2,000 would go to folks that stayed on the job for 2 years and increase their acumen while they were there on the job? Is that what it's?
Yeah, it would, the $2,000 would go to those candidates after 1 full year of employment.
Right.
And the Monroe Manufacturers Jobs Program is allocates money to the employee and to the business. And in this case, we're just talking about the employee.
Okay,
Um,
yeah. All
yeah.
right. And so you said a salary cap of $60,000 for incoming employees, you can't make over 70 grand, right?
Right, yeah, because we're targeting early career
Okay.
professionals. Right. So if you're being employed for $100,000, you don't necessarily need an extra 2.
So can I ask a question? So I know if after a year they get 2,000, but do they have to do another year or can they take the 2 and then leave the company? Is there any enticement that they stay there?
We don't have that in our proposal. I see your point 100%. The thought crossed my mind. I think what our thinking was is after a year, that person may be more ingrained in the Rochester community. They've established a place of residence. They've established, social networks, et cetera. And maybe they wouldn't want to leave anyways. They stuck around for a year because they were angling for that $2,000 bonus, so to speak. And then by that point, they're committed to living and working here. We could certainly add an element in that says maybe it's after a 2-year period, or maybe upon receipt of the $2,000,
After 6 months or something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
So I just kind of see that as, I'm not sure if the full board would have concern about that you're just handing someone $2,000 and then off they go. But if you do say, it'll be reimbursed if you end up leaving in 6 months. I don't know, but just kind of, maybe that's where we can brainstorm.
Or if the grant was like maybe $2,500 and you give them $1,000 the first year and $1,500 the next or something like that. But I'm not so concerned so much if someone was to leave so much. I think the program is to try to get you to be invested and stay. And so if I guess if we can craft the language that would say that the purpose of this here is to keep you here here in the city or here in the county. And if we see that that's not working, we just discontinue that. I don't think that we continue to go along and shell out things like that. I'm quite sure that if this does work, we'll try to ask for funding the following year. So after a year's pilot, if we believe that folks are just taking off, we just discontinue it. So I wouldn't be really that concerned about that. I just think that it's it could serve as a carrot stick if we carefully craft what the intention of what we're attempting to try to do here. So,
That's an excellent point.
yeah, next year, if we find out folks are taking the money and leaving, and you say, hey, man, we got to cut this out.
Right.
There's no return on it for us. But if we find that folks are staying, and this has incentivized folks to stay, then it's money well spent.
So our other programs do have a clawback, and they say, we say if you leave the county within 2 years after receiving the funds, you've got to repay those funds back. So, maybe we institute something like that. At least if they didn't stay in that company, they would stay in the community, right? And that's what we're looking for.
I agree. And also to your point, Lynn, and also Hanif alluded to this as well. We could say it's $2,000, give you 1,000 after year one, 1,000 after year two, so that you stick around a little bit longer. But we can also institute a clawback arrangement. And also this is a pilot program. So like Hanif said, we can experiment with it for a year. And then if we're not seeing any returns, we can change it or get rid of it altogether.
Yeah, and I think that what has to be said is that what we're trying to do is keep folks here. So we give a person $2,000 and then they leave the company next year, but they still stay in Monroe County and get a better job. I mean, what we're
Right.
saying, we want you to stay here and work here. And so to incentivize a person to do that, hopefully that $2,000 might help them pay a down payment on a house or other things that may allow them to stay here. So I just think that we have to look at this program very carefully and monitor it, and somehow see if we can get the right type of data that is going to let us know that this is successful, or if it's working or not. But I just think as a pilot, if we can run it and see what happens in terms of folks doing that, maybe it is a good investment. But the money is to keep folks here. It's not to keep them on a job. It's to keep them in Rochester more than anything else, because you can always look to get a better job.
Absolutely. So I want to, of course, have this dialogue with the full board tomorrow morning, but are there any changes that I should incorporate into the proposal such that this committee would opt to move it forward to the full board for approval tomorrow morning? Or is it okay as is for the time being?
Well, I recall having the discussion last year is that we were going to try to get other entities in Rochester to sort of incentivize that also too. I know COVID came up. We were going to try to get folks, they get the free pass to the jazz concerts.
Yes.
Some of the other stuff that we thought that would sort of incentivize the social life to stay here also too. I don't know, it would be nice maybe later on as you look at this program and stuff like that, if there's other things that possibly could join this mix here in terms of a collaboration to do that. And maybe we should be trying to look outwardly to see if there's other resources within the county that we possibly can use to go along with this 2,000.
That's a great point, Hanif. So there's an effort underway through the organization that was founded a little more than a year ago, Rock 2025, backed by Rob Sands and some other stakeholders. It's a program called Campus Rock, and it's being staffed over at the Chamber of Commerce, and they're instituting some programs around internships, job boards, enticing students to get out and experience arts and culture in Greater Rochester. And what I had talked about with the county executive a while back was, oh, well, couldn't we just kind of throw some resources at this effort and call that retain? And he wanted us to have our own program that we can, so that body, the Campus Rock folks, are aware that we're working on something and they're supportive of it. And we'll partner with them to make this program known to upcoming college graduates and area employers as part of the broader Campus Rock effort. And then we've proposed being supportive of Campus Rock in other manners as well. So when it's okay to socialize and have events and things like that. They're talking about having a college fest, they're calling it, downtown, and putting on some job and internship fairs. So we will be supportive of those undertakings.
So back to the program here. We're talking about 50 people. Is that
Yes, there are approximately 50 people. Mhm.
so we would have to have a pot of at least $100,000, right?
Yes,
Okay.
but that I mentioned that we could move the funds over from by capping the grades. So we'll have available funds to the tune of $100,000 by instituting a cap on grades, essentially.
What's the criteria for someone to apply for this? Because a young kid coming out of college, I see $2,000, I'm going to apply.
Yes.
So what's is it first come, first serve, or how do you go about that?
It's going to be on a rolling basis. We are putting together, so we're having businesses themselves apply for the program and offer it to their employees, and then we would cut the check to the employees. But we haven't fully thought through what the application process would look like. We're going to try and model it after the mineral manufacturer's jobs application, make some adjustments.
Yeah, there would have to be some marketing to it in terms of what companies received that and could offer it for folks coming out, to work for the company.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even though it's going to individuals, I guess them getting the information or knowing about it, I don't know if they know about it because it's going to be marketed on college campuses, that when you get out, these companies right here have these type of grants that incentivize you to make a go of it in the Rochester area and stay here. I don't know how, I mean, is there going to be any information or marketing that is going to suggest to folks to steer them to those companies? And I mean, how does that work?
We propose instituting an outreach effort with the college and university career services offices. So we'll circulate materials with those entities. And that's how we thought that we might target students before they enter the workforce. And did I miss anything that we put in the proposal? That
And this is going to be this is going to be monitored through us, right?
Yes.
To the staff member. Okay.
Yeah. And to the question about how do we determine, is it first come, first serve, et cetera? I believe that we should incorporate a merit-based review process so that we're focused on candidates that are entering employment in the most important sectors, and also looking at candidates that may potentially not be originally from either this region or New York State, so that we can, ultimately the goal would be to retain more non-native Rochesterians, people that just came here for college and maybe didn't think about Rochester as a place of employment upon graduation. And we have to think through how we're going to track and monitor those aspects of the program. And it could be that this is a preliminary conversation, maybe this committee has a dialogue tomorrow with the full board, and then we punt it to March for consideration after we finesse some of the nitty-gritty details.
But you're looking for a recommendation today from us to send it to the board
Yes.
for approval.
Mm-hmm.
Unless I'm missing it, I think we should, the budget part, being the treasurer, I think you should, I don't see that in the materials I've got where you're actually taking it from. Is that someplace that I'm missing, or?
No, we don't have that in the proposal document. What I am proposing though is that we institute a cap on the grades, such that businesses applying for great rebate can only have 2 open at any given time, which would approximately make $100,000 available. In the year.
Well, if there's no other questions, we need a proposal to be moved so we can get to the board tomorrow. So I'll accept a motion from
I'll move
anyone.
it.
Okay. You need a second?
Jeff will second.
Jeff will second it. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. So this is a discussion that we'll have at the board tomorrow, that we move to recommend this. And hopefully it's going to be a long board meeting.
We hope it's
Just-
not that long. We certainly hope that there's a
Just
healthy
kidding, guys.
discussion.
Just kidding.
Well, I appreciate that very much. Thank
Yeah.
you. And again, it's a pilot proposal. And
Yeah.
I'm meeting with the county executive this week to talk about it as well and get his buy-in and input before we fully roll it out.
Yeah, it's something personally I believe that is worth trying. And you know, if we're able to generate the the data on it, we would know maybe the following year to discontinue it or add to it.
Yeah.
Who knows, So if there's no other business, I've got a guy upstairs fixing something. I got to see him,
All right.
see what the deal is. I'll accept the motion to close the executive committee meeting.
I'll move it.
Second.
Jeff will second.
Okay, all in favor, aye.
All right.
Aye.
All right, thank you, guys.